Prior to beginning, I would like to again reiterate that I'm making this presentation or this speech on the behalf of His Excellency Dr. Sheikh Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, who unfortunately had to leave us halfway through yesterday due to an emergency requiring his immediate return to the kingdom. Right, so the Gulf states have always valued the stability and security of all nations, especially of that of neighboring countries such as Iraq and Yemen. Our nations require stability to allow us to continue to increase our human, social and economic development and deliver the services that our people require. The Kingdom of Bahrain has always striven to ensure that peace and prosperity prevails in the region and that our neighboring countries also enjoy stability, security, self-determination and independence. We believe that these are the only pillars on which a stable, prosperous and secure state can be built in order to enact an enduring peace. For the moderate states of the Arabian Gulf, both Yemen and Iraq are anchors in our security architecture. The cost of instability in both these states has hitherto been immense, with their citizens having paid an enormous human price. Instability within our borders has also been of great cost to our own peoples. The Houthis have so far fired hundreds of missiles into Saudi Arabia, with targets including the holy city of Mecca, Medina and Riyadh, causing the death of over 500 civilians. Economically, the damage caused to the region, both by conflict and by lost opportunities, can be counted in the hundreds of billions. Gulf security is West Asian security. Gulf security is world security. Stability in the Gulf is key to West Asian and global prosperity. Lest we forget, a third of global energy exports pass through the waters of the Arabian Gulf. To all of us in West Asia, our proximity to instability is a cause of major concern. Since 2011, the Middle East has become a theatre of war, a centre for exporting terrorism and a source of sectarian fundamentalism, ultimately leading to religious violence. This negatively affects the entire world, but especially those of us who live in close proximity to instability. No country that values the continued development of its peoples wishes for instability on its borders. The one country that violates that maxim is Iran, as it has created circumstances whereby its geostrategic prosperity depends on the instability of its neighbors. In order to compensate for Iran's weak conventional army and economy, the Islamic Republic has invested in its ability to spread fundamentalist theocratic ideology and asymmetric warfare. Iran's ultimate aim is to build a regional hegemony, turning neighboring Arab countries into satellite states controlled from Tehran. The wish to expand Iranian influence and export the revolution is enshrined in the Islamic Republic's constitution. To achieve this in Iraq, Iran's government has shown no limits in how far it is willing to go, with no the human cost of its actions. Indeed, the lengths Iran is willing to go to fund its destabilization of the region can be further evidenced by the actions of Hezbollah, Iran's largest proxy, and an internationally recognized terrorist organization. Hezbollah has been involved and financially reliant on funds from Latin American drug smuggling and money laundering. There can be no greater example of how desperate the Islamic Republic is to build its hegemony and how little regard it has for the well-being of humankind. Following the invasion of Iraq, sectarian conflict began to crescendo. By 2006, Iran covertly funded, supported, and armed Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Credible reports published by the US government have stated that Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security had, and I quote, facilitated the movement of Al-Qaeda operatives in Iran and provided them with documents, identification cards, and passports. They also provided money and weapons to Al-Qaeda in Iraq. End of quote. Iranian support for the Taliban is equally well documented. Whilst it may seem counterintuitive for a Shia state to support, fund, and equip Sunni extremists, when seen from an expansionist perspective, it is both a pragmatic and logical decision, if an unethical one. To Iran, the terrorist is a tool, And through Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, they managed to, via proxy, implicitly threaten regional, West Asian and global stability. Ultimately, this support for Sunni terrorism allowed Iran to contribute towards creating a formidable enemy. An enemy that would critically weaken the Iraqi army, allowing for the legitimization of the Shia militias under Iran's control. An enemy that the whole world, without exception, condemned. This was a key stage in furthering Iran's plan to achieving the external state capture of Iraq. They are managing to achieve state capture by having undue influence on all main aspects of the Iraqi state. Iraq's popular mobilization forces, formed of brigades and the aforementioned militias, are based on the model of Hezbollah. Many pledge allegiance to the supreme leader of Iran and have now been officially merged into the country's security forces. Iraq is now in a situation where 100,000 members of its security forces are openly loyal to a foreign nation under the control of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. This is an enormous threat to the independence of the Iraqi nation and her brotherly people, and erodes the agency of the Iraqi government to act independently of foreign interference. The issue of external state capture also extends economically. Here, Iraq is also dependent on Iran. The trade between the two nations has grown 17 times over the past 15 years. The balance of trade, however, has been exclusively in Iran's favor, to the tune of $12.5 billion a year. Iraq today is in a situation where the majority of its commodities and energy comes from Iran, as does its credit. Iran has shown that it has no qualms in using this to hold Iraq hostage. In fact, just this July, the Islamic Republic cut off electricity to a third of Iraq's southern population during the unbearable summer heat. This highlights just how beholden the Iraqi state is to Iran, and sadly, how Iran does not care for the well-being of the Iraqi people. Simultaneously, we are witnessing Iran attempting a military capture of Yemen by supporting and arming Houthi militias. The Houthis have captured much of Yemen's territory, depriving its people of their internationally recognized government. The Houthis are an intolerant sectarian militia whom have ripped the country into two. Their flag, which includes words such as "Death to America" and "Curse on the Jews," speaks loudly about their intolerance and wish for instability on a global scale. In contradiction of both the Geneva Convention and the United Nations decision UNSCR 2216, Iran has been supplying know-how, ballistic missiles, anti-ship missiles, and landmines, the latter of which now cover large areas of Yemen. Both the United States and the United Nations panel of experts on Yemen have stated that these missiles bear all the hallmarks of being manufactured by Iran. These weapons, besides being used to attack Saudi civilians and holy sites, have also been used to endanger international shipping by attacking merchant ships in an international sea corridor via which 10% of global trade is transported. The Houthis have also been mercilessly employing human shields, with no regard for the well-being of the people under their control. This is in contradiction of both the Geneva Convention and the most basic moral principles of humanity. More so, Iran and her largest proxy, Hezbollah, has actively attempted to thwart any negotiations that could bring peace to Yemen. On the 19th of August, Hassan Nasrallah, Secretary General of Hezbollah, met with Mohamed Ismaeel, head of the Houthi delegation to the UN-led Geneva peace talks. This is both a symbol of the blatant foreign interference in Yemen's affairs and further evidence of Iran's control of the Houthi militia. Previously, when a merchant Saudi oil tanker was attacked in international waters, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps general stated simply, quote, "We told the Houthi rebels to strike two Saudi oil tankers, so they did it," end of quote. Ultimately, the solution to the instability in Iraq and Yemen is to, in both cases, return sovereignty and self-determination to their governments and their people. External state capture must be internationally recognized and stopped in Iraq. The militias holding Iraq hostage must disband and reintegrate into society. Economically, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has already offered to support and rebuild Iraq. This is designed to support Iraq's reconstruction and stability away from the clutches of terrorism. Unlike Iran, who uses credit that it provides to Iraq to hold it hostage. The Gulf offer is designed to rebuild Iraq in the best interests of the Iraqi people. In Yemen, the solution lies in stopping the Houthis' military takeover, returning control to her internationally recognized government. In the short term, the United Nations sanctioned international embargo on supplying Houthis with weapons must continue to be enforced. The Houthis must be put in a position where they are disarmed and are willing to accept a negotiated settlement. The reintroduction of a peaceful national dialogue, as attempted in 2014, is vital to ensure that all legitimate stakeholders in Yemen can work together. Yemen, in her entirety, must be returned to her internationally recognized government. To this end, the Kingdom of Bahrain has contributed and sacrificed much. During Operation Restoring Hope, launched at request of the Yemeni government, the Bahraini Defense Force rushed to the aid of the brotherly Yemeni people. In the process, our country lost 8 soldiers and 1 fighter aircraft. Nonetheless, we are willing to sacrifice more in the quest to stabilize and protect our Yemeni brethren and regional stability. The Islamic Republic of Iran must stop its blatant interference and destabilization of the region. The international community must recognize the negative role that they play. The United States of America reintroducing sanctions on Iran is a step in the right direction. The 12 points set out by the United States Secretary of State are both fair and timely. They include asking Iran to end support of West Asian terrorist groups, including Hezbollah, in respecting the sovereignty of the Iraqi government and permit the disarming of Shia militia, and to stop support for the Houthis, as well as ending support for the Taliban and other terrorists in Afghanistan and the region. It is high time that the government of Iran stopped attempting at all costs to build a hegemony, instead focused on the well-being and development of its own country and the Iranian people, whom have paid a very high price for Iran's expansionist policy. In terms of preventing, ending and combating extremism ideology, the Islamic Military Counterterrorism Coalition, led by Saudi Arabia and including over 40 member states, is the way forward. It is an indication of the commitment the moderate Gulf states have to countering instability and extremism. Through this coalition, we can fight terrorism and preserve the security and stability of the region. The Kingdom of Bahrain stands firm in its commitment to the security, stability and prosperity of all states. Bahrain is a model of the peaceful acceptance of all creeds and religions in the region and modern Arab values. The only way to move the region away from fundamentalist ideology is by freeing it of foreign interference, allowing our own countries to prosper. The Gulf states only wish for Yemen and Iraq to become stable, secure, independent, self-determined states. And we truly believe that this is the only path to an enduring peace. Thank you.